Of a cruise crisis. A Central Florida boy stranded on a ship with a serious eye injury.
Fox 35's Danielle Lama live in studio tonight. It's a story you will only see right here on Fox 35. Danielle?
Charles and Luann, the parents desperately seeking a way back to the U.S. They say they're scared their son's health will continue to deteriorate as he battles a serious infection.
This is all red, and this swelling here is kind of dripping down his face.
Nicole Mejias FaceTiming with us from the medical center aboard the Norwegian Sun. She says shortly after boarding the ship at Port Canaveral Friday, a small cut above her 4-year-old's eye became severely infected.
The blood work came back that his levels were elevated again. So, of course, we worry about sepsis and the infection traveling to his brain and affecting his vision.
Little Roman has been receiving care on the ship as the Melbourne family struggles to find a way back to the U.S. Monday afternoon, they were docked in Cozumel.
We obviously did not expect this type of situation to happen. So, because we have no passports, it's very difficult for us to get off of the ship and back into the United States.
Some cruises that begin and end in the U.S. do not require guests to have a passport. In fact, Norwegian has a blog post about it up on their website. Mejias says she fears they'll get stranded in Mexico if they get off the ship.
We contacted the Coast Guard, the embassy, the travel insurance company. We've airlift people, medevac, all of the things, and we're having a really hard time trying to get out of here.
At last check, the family deciding to stay on board as the son is scheduled to be back in Florida Wednesday morning.
It's very frustrating, very mentally draining.
And the family says they don't think their insurance will cover any of this care. So people have donated more than $6,000 tonight to help. We called and emailed Norwegian about this situation and have not heard back. Live in studio, Danielle Lama, Fox 35 News.
A boy battling a vicious infection on a cruise ship.
There are some things you can do to keep yourself from ending up in a similar situation. Fox 35's Danielle Lama is live in Studio B tonight with that part of the story. Danielle.
Luann and Charles, their ship is expected to get back to Port Canaveral tomorrow morning. The family then plans to drive the boys straight to the hospital. They say this travel nightmare is finally almost over.
Say hi. Hi.
4-year-old Roman laying in his mom's lap as he continues to battle an infection that's done this to his eye.
We're still concerned about vision and the spread of infection.
Nicole Mejias says her son got a small cut before the family boarded the Norwegian Sun Friday. She says during the trip it became infected, causing sepsis.
His eyelid here is necrotic, so he's probably more than likely going to need surgery.
The Melbourne family didn't bring passports since it's not required on some cruises. So Mejias says they've struggled finding a way back to the U.S. Norwegian's medical team treating Roman on board. Mejias tells us she did buy travel insurance, but she's not sure what will be covered.
You want to be careful what, travel insurance that you should purchase. Make sure you're looking at the policy, making sure it has emergency evac, making sure it has medical.
Travel agent Effie Walthall says every policy is different, so you want to look at the fine print, find out how much is covered.
A typical evac normally costs anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000, depending on where you are in the globe. So it's really important to research that.
And she says even though passports aren't required on some cruises, you should still bring them.
It's always important to have the passport because you just don't know what's going to happen with travel.
This family, the proof.
We would have never thought that something like this could have happened.
And we've made multiple attempts to reach out to Norwegian. So far, we haven't heard back. Live in Studio B tonight, Danielle Lama, Fox 35 News.
Roman, how are you doing?
Hi.
Going to the hospital?
Yeah.
I hope you
You're
get
gonna
better.
make me better, right, baby? Yeah. So thank you for all you put. Yes.
Okay, ready?
Yep. Come on, Mama.
Okay. Come on, I'm coming.
Thanks for coming, guys. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
4-year-old boy, he's now back in Orlando recovering after he went into sepsis during a cruise with his family. We first introduced you to Roman Mejias earlier this week. His mother says the little boy hit his head and had a small scratch near his eye that got infected. Crystal Moyer, though, shows us how he's doing now.
We had a little scratch here that I cleaned up and put Neosporin on, and it was totally fine.
That's when Nicole Mejias says she, her 4-year-old son Roman, and 10 other family members boarded a Norwegian cruise line Friday bound for Mexico. Within 24 hours, Mejias says the cut became infected and her son went into sepsis.
We've never seen that before. His eye was like 4 to 5 times the size. Our problem was getting back into the United States.
Mejias wanted to get Roman back home as quickly as possible for treatment, but she and her family didn't have passports, so she couldn't fly back. Mejias racked up about $13,000 in medical bills during the cruise and isn't sure if her travel insurance will cover any of it. A passport is something travel agent Bob Cook says should be a necessity for anyone traveling outside of the country, even if it's not required for your cruise in case of an emergency.
Sometimes the U.S. Embassy or consulate can help you.
Cook also says travel insurance is important to have to protect yourself.
Know what the coverage is and how to contact the insurance company. Don't say, oh, it's $5 a minute to call from a ship. I'll wait till I get to the next port. No. Something happens, you call immediately, you get a claim going.
As for Mejias, she is relieved her son is doing well.
Definitely a learning experience.
And that was Crystal Moyer reporting. The little boy's mom says she's not yet sure whether her son will need surgery as part of his recovery.